Good morning, everyone. We are starting in a few minutes at 10. Thank you. Morning, everyone. We are starting in a few minutes at 10. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, and thanks to be with us today. My name is Simona Colombo, and in Avantor, I have a role in the marketing as campaign manager for Europe and North America. Today, we are learning from DWK Life Sciences how ready-to-use vials can accelerate traditional drug development journeys and support pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies in meeting the growth in demand for personalized medicines and biologics. Can you please move the slides? Before introducing the speakers, I want to give you some useful information. We will send you the recording of the presentation after the webinar. During the presentation, you can submit your questions anytime. We will do the question and answer session in the end. To ask your questions, write them using the control panel on the right. Your opinion is important for us. We would appreciate if you could answer the brief surveys you are receiving after the webinar. For additional questions or requests, you can contact us writing to webinar@avantorsciences.com. Next slide, please. Our today's speakers and moderator from DWK Life Sciences are Dr. Felix Brosi, Robert Popilok, and Chris Hogg. But I leave immediately the floor to them so they can introduce themselves and they can start the presentation. Enjoy the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, thank you, Simona, for the introduction and the housekeeping. So as Simona mentioned, we're going to listen today to how ready-to-use vials can help accelerate the drug discovery and development processes. My name is Chris Hogg. I'm a Marketing Communications Manager at DWK Life Sciences. I'll be acting as a moderator, so one thing we are going to do is have questions at the end, a 10 to 15 minute question and answer session. So please write anything into the chat that occurs to you during the presentation, and we will cover that at the end. The main speakers today, though, are not going to be myself. It's going to be Dr. Felix Brossi, who is our Global Head of Product Management at DWK Life Sciences, and also Robert Popolock, a Market Segment Manager who specialises in packaging and production at DWK. So that's enough from me. I'm going to hand over now to Felix to kick this presentation off. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Chris, and also hello and welcome from my side. Welcome to this webinar entitled From Pipeline to Patient, Accelerating Development Through RTU Vials. We want to thank you for joining and hope you will find this upcoming roundabout 45 minutes session beneficial. And without further ado, let's get started. We know that ready-to-use, meaning particulate, cleaned, depyrogenated, and sterile primary packaging components, are experiencing a rapid market adoption. And given that, RTU vials have the ability to accelerate traditional drug development journeys and support the scalable production needs of pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies focused on personalized medicines and small batch biologics, our objectives for the upcoming session include the role ready-to-use vials can play in improving flexibility, efficiency, and patient safety, how a strategic partnership between DWK Life Sciences and Stevanato Group has increased the availability of the world's most widely adopted ready-to-use vial standard, Stevanato Group's EasyFill vials, and how the increased availability benefits the development phase, the technology transfer, and commercialization of new drugs at early stages. At DWK Life Sciences is a global leading manufacturer for laboratory glassware, life science and pharma packaging solutions, supporting our customers at all stages of drug discovery, clinical trial, and production. We are a recognized manufacturer of the core brands Duran, Wheaton, and Kimball, and offer more than 35,000 products. Through our manufacturing competency in pharma grade type 1 borosilicate glass vials, we support the packaging of sensitive biologics, injectable drugs, and other pharmaceutical content. We offer the flexibility to customize solutions to meet both small and large batch requirements, material specifications, secondary packaging configurations, and RTU processing to best support your workflows. In fact, our ready-to-use offering is designed to serve both the life sciences and pharma applications. For the focus of this webinar, the partnership with the Stevanato Group to support the EasyFill RTU vial platform, a scalable ready-to-use solution that serves the entire drug discovery lifecycle. We have a solid footprint with operations in all major regions globally. Our headquarters is located in Germany and Europe, and our products are made available globally via our strategic partnership with Avantor. And with that, I would hand it over to Robert.
Thank you, Felix. Thank you for that background. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction, and Simone as well. So we're going to turn to ready-to-use, or RTU, as it's commonly referred. You'll hear that term throughout the presentation. The term RTU typically denotes processing methods meeting specific regulatory standards defining the cleanliness, the endotoxin removal, and sterility. When such container closure systems are used for the packaging of injectable drugs, it refers to a serum crimp finish type vial, a snap-on or lyo type stopper, and a flip cap seal. These RTU components are commonly used in the laboratory, development centers, and production entities. And this is because they allow the direct entry into clean rooms and aseptic fill process areas. For cleanliness, components must meet the EP 2.919 standards through vigorous washing and rinsing to achieve those published limits on the amount of subvisible particles allowed in injections. With respect to bacterial endotoxins, components must meet the EP 2614 through the use of dry heat, somewhere around 250 plus degrees, which places limits on the bacterial endotoxins for drugs introduced via intravascular, intrathecal, intraocular type routes of administration. With respect to sterilization, components must meet the EP 261 via dry heat, somewhere around 121 degrees C, and or radiation or gas to achieve a sterility assurance level, a SAL, that's less than 10 to the -6. And finally, RTU primary packaging components are accompanied by certificates of analysis and processing to comply with all of the traceability requirements. Now, the use of RTU packaging components is large and growing. I mean, it's being rapidly adopted. Fueling this market shift is the movement from blockbuster drugs produced inline, continuous inline processes, to personalized medicines and the rise of biologic drugs. In addition, small batch injectable targeted therapies and other novel injectable drugs continue to dominate the drug development pipeline. Small drugs are developed, small batch drugs are developed and manufactured under increasing quality and regulatory requirements, and really have an intense and strict human resource and process control guidelines. The resulting complexity and small batch production needs are driving large pharma companies to contract both research and manufacturing to outsource organizations with a focused acumen in this area. These outsourced agencies, these contracted agencies, typically are able to accelerate and de-risk the development process, especially when they use an industry standard RTU packaging platform like the EasyFill. So this slide takes kind of a closer look at the market drivers and the associated benefits. Top of this list is the desire to accelerate the parenteral drug development pipeline destined for aseptic manufacturing operations. Accelerating the life cycle is important given the extreme competitiveness of the market and the dividends paid for being first to market. So the use of RTU vials conforming to industry packaging standards in a scalable packaging configuration provide workflow benefits to help achieve this goal. And with an eye on aseptically filled injectable drugs, a critical consideration is whether the filling entity will process vials in-house or use an RTU vial. When we look at the total cost of ownership and consider scalability benefits and factor in workflow simplification, we see a model favoring RTU vials. And another important influencer for the use of RTU vials is the focus on small batch injectable drugs, with a paradigm shift from continuous large batch manufacturing to a small batch production model. This is ideal for ready-to-use vials, as entities manufacturing in small batches typically produce a range of small batch drugs that will benefit from operational flexibility and the rapid changeover afforded by industry standard vial formats such as the EasyFill. The bottom line is that the RTU components offer a tremendous value add, as they can be purchased in small MOQs, small minimum order quantities. They can scale with growing batch requirements. They can streamline the workflow by nature of direct entry, into the aseptic core, and minimize changeover time by nature of a platform standardized and its flexibility. So this slide focuses on a range of ready-to-use offerings available through DWK. The premier RTU offering for this webinar is the EasyFill vial, and that's made possible through a strategic partnership with the Stevanato group, and where DWK offers the RTU vials branded as EasyFill. EasyFill are ready-to-use vials packed in industry standard nests and tubs or partition trays. The EasyFill vial platform is the most widely adopted ready-to-use platform. It's based on ISO and EP industry standards, assuring chemical compatibility and machinability. And as we saw on the prior slide, meeting industry standards maximize flexibility and scalability. So who wouldn't want that? EasyFill vials can be manually or robotically removed or transferred to a vial conveyance system, which is essential to streamlining the development process. Another benefit of the nest and partition tray is that it assures high cosmetic quality through non-glass-to-glass contact. And another RTU offering from DWK is our Complete Pack, which is a kitted solution of matching quantities of vials, stoppers, and seals. And finally, DWK specializes in customized RTU offerings that can meet the specific requirements or batch requirements of your particular operation. So let's take a closer look at the benefits of the EasyFill platform. Okay, so we're going to look at how EasyFill vials compare to unprocessed vials and how each enters the aseptic process. At the highest level, the filling environment itself may encompass a manual, automated, or robotic filling methods. Regardless, vials must meet the ready-to-use standards to enter the filling environment. Both unprocessed and ready-to-use vials start out as glass tubes converted to a glass vial. You can see that here on the left. For the unprocessed vials, this means vials that are not sterile and must be processed via washing and depyrogenation in-house to meet the ISO cleanroom standards prior to migrating through the aseptic core. That would be this top route here. This requires considerable time and resources be invested in capital equipment to do those procedures. The human effort, process controls, all have a negative impact on workflow and TCO. So the other option is to use pre-sterilized RTU vials, such as the EasyFill, which can directly enter into the aseptic core through simple transport from the shipper case in your warehouse to the ISO cleanroom. Ultimately, it's going to enter here and improve the workflow and TCO. This is important as improving the total cost of ownership has become a key focus of small batch operations who want to eliminate capital investment and annual operating costs associated with vial prep. And in fact, while there's a number of publications on this topic, one publication referenced a reduction of the capital expenditure and operational costs by approximately 40%, including the elimination of costs associated with the RTU preparation. Lastly, EasyFill vials are considered a plug-and-play solution as they're supported by a COC and COA documentation attesting to meeting the EP cleanliness and bacterial and sterility claims. You simply just need to add the traceability documentation to your quality file. So I think it becomes easy to see the value of EasyFill vials when looking at the aseptic filling chain. And for production entities performing inline vial processing, this graphic depicts a traditional aseptic filling line. The washing and sterilization equipment are highlighted in blue and can be eliminated through the use of EasyFill. And again, it becomes easy to see how EasyFill eliminates that capital investment and the footprint. It's also easy, obvious, that EasyFill can then directly enter into that core at this stage of the process. This slide's a little busy, but it depicts the stages of drug development. and the importance of the handshakes to take place from the discovery phases into the preclinical and clinical phases through the commercial phases. It depicts the objective at each stage, those involved at each stage, their focus, and the benefits offered through the use of ready-to-use vials. And as mentioned, the market is keenly interested in accelerating the development timelines with a goal of being first to market. So as discussed, the use of an industry standard vial platform such as EasyFill with its scalable and flexible formats allow researchers to identify promising injectable proteins and targets while simultaneously validating the vial components and its secondary packaging. And this benefits CROs, contract research organizations, and CDMOs, contract development and manufacturing organizations, and others serving in those subsequent development stages, ultimately streamlining their downstream validation or revalidation efforts. And this is because the EasyFill vials allow drug developers to access the same validated packaging from the development throughout the commercial stages. So if you live in step one, then the CROs and CDMOs who you may advance your research and development to will likely thank you, as the EasyFill offers a standardized, validated, and scalable R2U vial platform. And again, it's available in those small MOQs, also required for those early clinical stages. Now let's take a little bit of a closer look at the EasyFill configurations themselves. The R2U vials are hosted in secondary packaging, either a partitioned tray or a nested tub. Both are designed to prevent glass-to-glass contact, assuring a pristine cosmetic finish. In the later stages, the choice between tray and nest is driven by the specific operation and fill process. At the development stage, you may use either, knowing that the same glassware is used in both and the same processing standards, which assures the chemical compatibility regardless of the configuration chosen in the subsequent stages. The tray is typically consumed by entities performing small and moderate batch aseptic filling using conventional vial feeding systems. In such systems, the vials are loaded in mass onto a rotating feeder by flipping the vials from the tray aided by a rotation tool. The nest and tub configuration is designed specifically for small batch production using robotic filling lines. Such robotic filling lines automate removal of the outer packaging and the nest from the tub. Filling takes place while the vial remains inside of the nest to further streamline workflows. These filling lines, are sometimes known as combi lines. They're commonly used with these nests and tubs. They're designed to fill a wide range of vial capacities, and the standardized tub eliminates changeover between runs. And the robotic lines are becoming widely adopted by nature of small batch drug focus. So as you can imagine here, this combination of tray and nest configurations, hosting the identical vial components in the identical R2U condition, adds further flexibility. Now, given that the R2U vials need to migrate from your warehouse or stockroom to the aseptic core, let's take a brief look at the secondary packaging configuration. So see here, all right. So starting with this picture here, you can see how you receive the product. There are 15 nests and tubs in a case. Each is individually contained inside of 2 steri bags. If the steri bag is intact, the vials are considered sterile. It's a form of visual quality control. Migrating from those, ISO 8 areas down to, ISO 6.5 areas is possible through the successive disinfection and removal of these outer bags. And once the bags are removed, the tubbed product can enter the area, the filling area, where the heat sealed barrier here. So here's the bags here being removed from the trays, and then here is the last barriers, and this heat sealed barrier can then be removed, and a floating layer as well, and that will expose the R2 vials for filling. And this process can be performed manually in the lab or robotically by filling lines. Okay, so we've discussed a lot at this point, so I just want to take a moment to revisit some of the key benefits. We'll start with quality here. Let's see here. Okay. Increased quality speaks to vials produced to CGMP requirements and international standards related to clean, sterile, and R2 vials packaged in an industry standard tub. Further, the secondary packaging is designed to protect the glass from blemish, eliminating glass defects that can impact drug yields and production efficiency. Right? So if you have a cosmetic defect, it could be confounded by the fact that there's a particle in the drug product. Not having a cosmetic defect assures that we're not scrapping viable drug. And increase with respect to flexibility, this speaks to the ability to receive the R2 vials in the nest and tub or tray configurations in a range of vial capacities. Also, the industry standard tub can be used with combi lines, flex fill lines, and a range of existing vial transfer systems. And the easy fill vial is designed for a harmonized, easy, and efficient entry into the aseptic filling suite, regardless of the vial capacity. Let's see here. For standardization, by nature of being an open platform, EasyFill reduces production, changeover times, and eliminates the need to revalidate primary or secondary packaging at each of the subsequent development stages. This helps reduce time to market, as the platform reduces that effort along the drug development cycle and any revalidation requirements. And finally, minimizing the total cost of ownership by eliminating capital investment and annual operating costs associated with the operation of a vial prep line. Now, as we know, once the drug product is inside of the sterile primary package, the vial itself, it must be sealed before leaving the aseptic core to ensure content integrity, security, and shelf life, and the maintenance of that sterility. Closures such as stoppers, seals, and snap caps are designed to keep the external environment from interacting with the packaged drug content, must also meet R2 standards. The ability to purchase the entire container closure system, that vial, stopper, and seal, in a ready-to-use format from a single source simplifies the purchasing process and ensures validated component compatibility from a container closure integrity standpoint. Okay. Now, kind of coming to the end here, this is a summary of how R2 EasyFill vial platform can support your research and early stage development efforts. So we see small MOQs, which can minimize that capital investment, making the EasyFill an ideal choice for laboratory work. Workflow is streamlined, given that the vials are ready to use, which negates in-house processing effort. And the EasyFill is an industry standard, supporting the handoff from research to next stage developers. Ultimately, that accelerates the development life cycle, and sourcing is simplified through the availability of matching ready-to-use closures. And best of all, both EasyFill vials and ready-to-use stoppers and seals are available via our partnership with Avantor. Felix?
Thank you, Robert. At this stage, I would like to give an outlook and offer the opportunity to engage with us personally at CPHI in Barcelona. We'll be exhibiting there and look forward to engaging personally with you. Should you have any questions with regards to our RTU offering, be it the Stevanato Group EasyFill vials or the written complete pack. Thank you very much.
Simone?
Yeah, thank you so much. Don't we have any questions from the attendees? I would like to know, because this is an opportunity, we have time. I'm wondering if any of the attendees has any question to ask to the specialists we have here.
Hi, Simona. Yes, we do
Yeah,
actually have a few questions, so I can. There's a couple of things that have come through. I can't
yes,
quite. So I
the
can't
time
quite. Brilliant. Yeah. So should we do the questions now, Simona? Is that okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I can't quite see the name on this, but this person on the email is in the chat is saying that they are a researcher who is currently working to identify target proteins. Now they ask how EasyFill can help in their work. So I'll hand over to Felix and Robert to answer that.
Felix, you want to take this one?
Yes, most certainly. So the benefit here for you very specifically, whoever answered the question, is that the EasyFill is a scalable product. So that it benefits each development stage from research through clinical into production. So your work in these early stages, in the research stage, benefits simultaneously in the later stages. So chemical compatibility assessment between the drug formulation and the primary packaging, the ready-to-use vials, and the machinability. These early findings in this early stage also benefit, since the scale up is rather not a scale up. I think the more appropriate term is a scale out, right? Because you start with the nest in the tub or the tray, and instead of scaling up, you scale out, you just multiply, you add more nests, more tubs, and more trays. So in that regard, the environment for the drug stays exactly the same. I hope that answers the question.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Felix. There's still some time if anyone wants to add a sort of follow-on question to that. So we've got another one as well. So this is from Jamie Wallace, who asks, are the EasyFill vials no-touch transfer when they are introduced into the aseptic core? So again, Felix or Robert, would you like to answer that?
Sure, I'll be happy to take that. So the question is it a no-touch? It'll depend on the fill operation. You know, obviously, if the fill operation is truly, you know, at the preclinical stages where maybe just a dozen or two vials are being filled, typically we'll see that done by hand, and either the partition tray or nest and tub format would be acceptable in that environment. And you would follow the same process of removing the outer bag, disinfecting the inner bag, moving it to the next ISO stage, clean room, removing the next bag, and disinfecting, removing the next bag, and then you would be left with a heat sealed Tyvek layer on the core product tray, and then you can remove that once inside the aseptic core, and then you would remove those vials. If it's an automated line and it's robotic, then depending on the exactness of that line, the whole tub system will, including the inner bag, will be placed inside the port, and then the robot can remove the rest. Some of it's semi-automatic, wherein once that's that product with the inner bag is placed in that initial portion of the isolator, using a glove port, the operator would manually remove the outer bag and work its way through the system as well. So there's a variety of ways to do that. Lastly would be the more traditional type conveyance, relying on ready-to-use vials, wherein the tray version would then be most likely used. And in this case, those vials would need to be then flipped onto that conveyor. And so we provide a handy tray rotation tool that we call it, that would be placed along the top, and the vial tray flipped, would be slid out, the tray lifted off, and then the vials would now be neck up, moving through the traditional conveyance. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Robert. One more question here. I can't see a name on this one again, but it's from a CDMO, and they are working on developing injectable drugs. They currently hand fill, but are looking to introduce a fill line next year. And they asked, is easy fill first of all a good fit? And I suppose which configuration would be most suitable. So, Robert, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take that one too. I mean, this is certainly an ideal scenario, and we're seeing this, right? The model for a CMO or a CDMO is, they're a contract or a service organization, and they're being contracted by other companies who may be producing drugs in a continuous inline process and really lack the acumen or really the wherewithal to manage a small batch drug. So these organizations, that's what they specialize in. Right? So it's like going to a medical specialist. That's their ball of wax. And economically, they invest in all of that, the equipment to perform that operation, and the personnel and the footprint and everything that goes along with that. So for them, working with one small batch drug typically isn't a sustainable model. So they typically are working to serve a number of clients and a number of small batch drugs. So they typically start out with a lot of hand filling, and if they're only a part of the food chain where they're doing the pre-clinical work or the clinical work, but not the commercial work, again, they would have a very small batch need and might be working by hand. But at some point, as drugs progress and find their way to the market, then and the batches get a bit bigger, they may want to improve their efficiencies and thereby install equipment that would automate the manual process. And this is where easy fill really shines, because you can work with the vials in their secondary formats, knowing that glassware now has already been validated from the chemical compatibility standpoint, but also that the secondary packaging is an industry standard. So when you install that equipment, the likelihood that a Bosch or a Sterile or whomever's equipment that you choose to use has already been validated with this secondary packaging format. So that's a great question, and I do think that if you're in a CMO or CDMO, you live in that area of the business, it would certainly be good to become more familiar with the EasyFill platform and experiment with that.
Okay, thank you, Robert. So some more questions are still coming through. So there is one here about on the sustainability front. David asks if it's possible to sort of talk a little bit about the end of life recyclability options or reusability of the major sort of components, such as the glass, the trays, the bags. Obviously, this is something I think that a lot of organizations are looking to develop. Is there anything you sort of can comment on from general trends or specifically to EasyFill at this stage on this topic?
I think and Phyllis, weigh in on this. I think we are on for sustainability. I think the world as a whole is well across are making, they're at the they're past the midway point of the bridge, right? When it comes to the pharmaceutical world, and because of biohazardous content and things like that, we're on the bridge, but I don't think we've reached the halfway point. the vials themselves, have a long shelf life. And so, there's a long period of time to use them before they would expire. So you have a number of years of shelf life. You're a little risk of scrapping something that you didn't use. The secondary packaging itself, whether it be polypropylene or the molded trays, they would all be recyclable by nature of the materials that they're manufactured from. The vials themselves, again, go back to a biohazardous consideration, and at the consumer level, the patient receiving the injection, that would be handled through the red bins and red bag methods that most hospitals and dispensaries use for a dispensed or an exhausted primary packaging component. I hope that answers the question. I mean, there's certainly more to be done there. And attending a lecture last year through the PDA, the Parental Drug Association, I think it might have been Pfizer representative speaking. They clearly identified the conundrum. And while the size of their entity are focused on sustainability, they recognize at the patient administration level, that front line of the consumed vial product, they don't have an answer, and they didn't see an immediate answer for that question, for that challenge.
Can I say something regarding sustainability in this regard? Because it is a really good topic, and our company is working really strongly to select products and services to enhance sustainability. And regarding packaging, for example, we do have a service named TerraCycle, which is available in some countries, which is expanding. And with the service, we provide some boxes depending on the type of recycling. So the service is picking up the products at the premises of the customers, and with the packaging, they do produce useful things, for example, plastic chairs or different things, and everything is really good to close and to reuse the things. If anyone is interested, I can share the link of this service, and is also including the recycling of coveralls, gloves, glasses. So everything is used in a pharmaceutical company. So really useful for sustainability.
That's a good point, Simone. I mean, I was speaking specifically about the easy fill product. I mean, at a holistic level, DWK is also focused on sustainability, everything from recycling, as we manufacture tubular glass vials, recycling spent glass and such. So no, I mean, at the holistic level, yes, we have a number of sustainability efforts in place. At the easy fill level, the secondary packaging materials are of a recyclable nature.
Yes.
Other questions, Chris?
No, I think that's the last ones I can see in the chat. So I think probably I will hand over to Simone now. Just a final thing from our side, obviously, in terms of hearing more information from DWK, either for easy fill or RTU offering, or wider product portfolio and company information. Our website is dwk.com. You can also follow us on social media. Just put DWK into LinkedIn and the other social media channels. And of course, follow us through what we do with VWR too. So with that, Simone, was there anything more? I think you had a couple of final closing comments to say about questions to your relevant VWR.
Yes. If we have finished, I just want to make some conclusions. And first of all, thanks everyone for attending the webinar. I hope you find it useful. and it's important you are answering the survey you are receiving, so we have an idea of which topic you would like to listen to and improve our webinars for the future. Thanks to the speakers also, and a special mention to Robert, which is located in the east part of the US. So for him it's night, not morning, it's more or less is night. And coming to the logistic information, just to remind that this webinar has been recorded, so you will receive an email after this session with the link of the recording. And anyway, you can always listen to the recording of this presentation. You can ask also your colleagues, everyone in your company want to have a look to this webinar and other webinars. I invite you to visit this session of the webinars. I made you this screenshot. So if you go on the home page on wr.com, on the top, you see I put a small screenshot square in green. There is an events section. You click on events, then you select webinars. In the webinars, you can see which webinars are coming, so you can decide depending on your job, your role, what is interesting for you, and then you can register. But we have an history of the webinar, so you can have a look, and if you can find something interesting for you, you can always listen to the recording. Just fill in your name, your data, and then you have the opportunity, the chance to listen to the recording of the webinar. And what else? You will receive a certificate of attendance 24 hours after the session. And that's all. Any question you want to ask regarding the webinar, or you want to ask something more to the speakers, please write to webinar@avantorsciences.com. That's all for us. We can close the session, and we all wish you a good day, and really hope to have you again with us. Thank you so much. Bye. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Take care. Bye bye. See you soon, Barcelona.
Yes.